Hello, hello, and welcome back to Retrieving Sanity with your podcast host Keegan, and this is your podcast for all mental health, addiction, recovery issues and topics. Now, today is day three, well, rather was day three of Podcast Movement 2025. Here's a little recap. Biggest lesson I learned today was stay out of the comfort zone. Biggest lesson, just stay out of it. If I'm in it, I'm not progressing. I'm not doing anything I need to do moving forward. And that's kind of hard to do, right? Because whenever you're somewhat antisocial because of past experiences and everything like that, it's kind of like, it's easy to find a corner and just kind of stick in it. But that's not what we're here for. Again, but this is a recap. So if you're not at Podcast Movement and you want a little bit of recap, this is my experiences. This is not like recap of like the sessions and what was going on, and maybe a little bit of my takeaways and stuff like that. It's mostly my insights into what I need to be doing different. And today was full of like a, a down. It was full of a down. I'll just put it like that. It was a big down. So comparatively to the last couple of days, it was not nearly as fun, but it was all on me, is my perspective, mindset, and stuff like that. And again, slinked away to my comfort zone because something went wrong. Essentially, what actually went wrong, the first thing that went wrong was that it was raining a whole bunch on the way there. And it wasn't that bad. It just made traffic kind of shitty. And then after that, because it rained while I was walking to the inside of the conference or the inside of the hotel, I think it got in time, like the itty bitty, like crack on my screen. And so now you can't see it. Darn you, camera. There's a tiny spot in the corner that's messed up. Like it just so in like it doesn't even inconvenience me, but it just bothers me because it's there now. But aside from that, I also forgot my mechanical pencil, so I had to use my special pen and special ink, which didn't really bother me because I mean, it gives it a nice little contrast instead of everything being like pencil. It's nice and red. So you see day three, yeah. Uh, then I had a bit of a spot where it stopped doing everything, so now I got a little bit of a Rorschach, or however you pronounce it, ink blot in my journal. Looks kind of cool though. It looks like a stingray, manta ray, or something. Or let me know what you think that looks like. Let's see. So far, I've made a sigil per day. For those of you that don't know what that is, don't worry about it. Now, let's see. Day three. The one thing that I. Shit. The first session that I actually got to was talking about music. And I was like, perfect. I need music. I love music in the background. And it's interesting because basically what he was telling me was stuff I already kind of knew, but it's just kind of nice to hear from someone else. But the biggest thing was, and I didn't get the chance to ask him the question of like, is it okay to just have a whole like hour long track behind you or something? And of course, there are some people that do and don't, but he was very selective about his music and where he'd place it and what for. And so it was pretty interesting. So, like he was saying, be selective. It's a part of storytelling. Music will drown out human voice because it actually occupies the same frequency range. Go figure, right? So then music is either adding or masking. And whenever he said that, I was like, yeah. Whenever I'm having a lot of audio issues and I don't know how to cover them up, that is my first instinct is just throw some background music. Because it'll mask. It will do a good job, but that's the thing. You have to be selective. You can't sit there and just be like, yeah, that sounds good for that 5 seconds, and then the rest of it just drowns everything else out. You can't do that. I learned the hard way. Um, but let's see. Timing with music is key. You want to make sure that it's used cinematically. And his podcast is called the American underscore podcast. So I want some good examples of how to use music as a storytelling element in my podcast. That's where I'm going to go check it out. So he said transitions are paramount whenever it comes to music because transitions carry a message. So does the music that you're playing. The music has a message within its own right. It invokes emotion for the most part. So that's why I love the music in the background. But that's the thing. Whenever you have a chill podcast or you're doing deep dives and stuff, I can sit there and I can have this full hour track, right? Just playing in the background. But the thing is it adding or subtracting from the message? And there's times where it definitely adds to it, and there's times where it definitely subtracts to it. And if I want to continue doing music, I think I need to get a little bit more in there. But that's kind of the thing is that I don't have that much music. But I just have to work with what I got, and I'll make it happen. So we'll just see how everything else goes. But moving forward, let's see. Transitions carry a message, and they should be either conspicuous or inconspicuous. I was like, well, they're going to be one or the other, but he said to make them like very uh, intentional, right? So if you want it to be noticed, or if you don't want the transition to be noticed, because it carries a certain message. So he said to use reverb, cut high and low, blah blah blah. Y'all don't care about this too much, but it was yeah, just do storytelling. Yeah, biggest thing right there. So that's what we're doing right now. We're going over all this. So what happened after this little ink blot incident? I decided to go and use my Maano T1 mini wireless lavalier microphones and get some interviews done. Well, guess what? Lo and behold, it doesn't work with my OnoLink on the computer for some reason. My computer still recognizes the microphones, just didn't work. So I'm sitting there messing with Riverside, messing with the camera app. The camera app's like, hey, change privacy settings on your computer to access the microphone. And I'm like, what are you talking about? So I'm sitting there, I'm kind of confused. I reset the computer, I do a couple of other things, still wasn't working, so I gave up. Feeling defeated, I decided to go back and just do, well, the sessions, do the podcast movement. But in between sessions, I was feeling very let down by myself, if you will. I was feeling very not in the mood after that defeat. So I kind of just was sticking to myself in some regards, but I was really paying attention to other people in I was people watching. I haven't people watched in a while. So I guess this is what I was just doing. I was looking at people's postures, how they were interacting with other people, what was going on, what kind of conversations were being had, this, that, and another. And it was pretty interesting. Like, I learned one thing is that a lot of people are either very, very mindful about their posture or they're not. And that's kind of the thing, too, is that I've been much more mindful about my posture lately, and it's helped out my mindset a bunch. And I just made this conclusion, or that it's a conclusion, I guess it is. I came to the conclusion right before I started this, actually, is that self worth, though, for me, I carry it in my chest. So whenever I'm feeling worth less or less than or something like that, I tend to sulk. I tend to have my shoulders down. I tend to like dip a little bit and kind of like curl in. Even if it's very, very subtle, I'll do it, right? But whenever I have that little bit of self worth, self belief, then I'm chest out a little bit and standing a little taller. It's weird. So if I don't feel it, I can do the posture and it helps bring that emotion forward. And then I have to fight back the feeling of this isn't how I'm feeling. It's weird. I don't know how else to describe it. Anyone else feel that way? Anyways, now after that, we really just kind of were sitting there again doing more classes of sorts. So one of them was 5 things that podcasters do, which was hosted by Alex Sen. I'm not going to try and pronounce his last name. I'm going to butcher it. He is the creator of Podmatch, and so I've talked to the guy through email chains. He recognized me. I hope to get to speak with him in person, maybe even interview him a little bit for his mental health. But there are some interesting stats that he gave. But he said one thing is that do batch editing for sure, and to enjoy the whole journey. Don't just enjoy the ups. Then let's see. He said something about having 8 anchor points. He only gave us 4 in the very beginning. That was cover art, title, description, release dates. It was so new in his presentation, he didn't have a slide for it. So he said he was going to give us the other four, and he never did. So I should have went up to him and asked him about that. But one of the things that was also new in his presentation was talking about fostering community among listeners. Now I do this, but mostly with my TikTok listeners. Hopefully, my TikTok listeners become podcast listeners, and hopefully, my podcast listeners become Discord members because that would be really cool. I've got about 30 something people in a community. It's not the most active, it's not the most popular or anything like that, which is totally fine. But there are a few people that use that space to get stuff off their chest, to help them feel better, and just need a little bit of support. So that's what it's there for. But it's interesting being the community leader because you have to be there. And I'm like, I'm really bad at that. Some of the members are totally, and that's the thing is that because it's founded on self care, mental health, and stuff like that, most of the time people are just sitting there like, take care of yourself, we'll be fine, we're here for each other, just we'll be here once you get back. And I'm like, cool, thanks guys. And I feel bad about it. So if y'all wonder if I feel bad about it, I do. But moving on, anything else that was really interesting? Let's see. Some people switch to audio after discovering your video. Interesting. Again, audio is king. Content is king. So if your audio quality sucks, no one's going to listen or watch. Um, so be honest about everything. Be real and keep going. Oh, it's okay to make mistakes and show up. So I was talking to someone and I was like, man, a lot of this stuff is like things I've already watched on YouTube. And they were like, yeah, it's interesting, right? Um, what was that? Cast Magic shorts. I was like, Cast Magic. Why am I writing in this script on in this journal? Well, it makes sense. It is that journal, but not the right section. Anyways, so no, I could use Cast Magic to make shorts. There's also Libsyn video distribution and NorthFlow.io, which is something I'm going to check out to help with my workflow because that is something I really struggle with. So let's see, Podroll, blah 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 blah. Solutions to earn, because podcasting is all about making that moolah. For some people it is. For me, it's not. But it's kind of the thing is that I wanted to become a nonprofit organization of sorts for mental health resources. Did I say organization or just something? I just wanted to be a thing that isn't just a podcast. Let's put it like that. And to do that, it has to make money eventually. But let's see. Anything else? Deal terms don't equal a contract. Just so you know. Read contracts if you get contracts, and then check out disrupting peace. That was a really interesting one where the person was talking about nonprofits and podcasting and their podcast at the end of the episode, because each episode has a scholar and something else that's complementary. But they'll talk about a subject and like what's wrong with it, how they can fix it, whatnot. But then at the end of the episode, they fast forward in whatever year and then say, oh, but then this issue has been solved or is getting better and peace has been restored or something like that. How did that happen or something? And it is pretty interesting hearing how those people are so focused on the problems a lot of the time that they can't sit there and actually come up with ideas of these solutions or the vice versa. It was pretty interesting. But all in all being said, podcast movement day 3 has come to an end. Well, kind of, sort of. It's come to an end for me. There's some podcast meetups. Figured out that I could have started a mental health podcaster meetup, but didn't really know if I could or should, or if anyone else was going to do it. So I didn't do it. Turns out I probably should have. But who knows? Don't know. There maybe next year, probably not. I think it's going to New York, or at the end of this year, it's going to New York. It's going somewhere not here. That's the important part. So if it's not here, I'm not going. Sorry. Some people that are going and presenting at these things do make a lot of money with their podcast, but that's the thing, is that they're the industry leaders. They're the people that are helping make this thing actually a thing. And a lot of them are trying to make it to where people can sit there and have their podcast and do like a career out of it of sorts. So yeah, we're getting there. But I figured out there's a lot of work I've got to do. There's a lot of stuff I've been behind on without knowing it. There's a lot of stuff that I just need to implement, it's almost a rebranding. Almost, it almost is easier to just say and scrap it all, restart. Now that I know what I'm doing, but I have like 100 plus episodes out, and I don't really want to do that. But some people say it takes 2, 3, 4, 500 episodes. Some people say 2 years, whichever comes first. Some people say it just takes a while. So, eh. I just know everyone else has said that name is freaking great. And I'm like, yeah, it's pretty apt. It's spot on. So I don't want to get rid of it, but I need to put it in the tagline that we are recovery focused healing from traumas and addictions, or addictions and traumas, whichever one you want to look at. But otherwise, I think that covers it for this episode. This is a quick recap of day 3 of Podcast Movement 2025 in Dallas, Texas. So thank you for watching Retrieving Sanity backstage with Keegan. And as always, love yourself if you can. Try to love others, but you gotta love yourself first. So we will see you tomorrow. Much love. Schlan Gefal.